According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 people in the world will be affected by mental or neurological disorders at some point in their lives. This is a true account of the life of Debbie and her long battle against a variety of mental health problems. With courage and support along the way, Debbie was prepared to make the necessary changes within her life to reach her personal goals. Names, where necessary, have been changed to provide anonymity to those parties involved.
I have experienced a number of problems in my life that started at a very young age. Unfortunately, the help that we have now was not available to me then. At age 9, my dad passed away, and I developed a crippling separation anxiety disorder, stemming from the fear of losing my mum as well, and I would not go to school. At age 12, I was involved in a crowd crush situation with my younger brother and a friend. We became separated in the crowd, and I feared they had been trampled on or killed. I witnessed a traumatic injury to a woman who was trampled in front of me. Following this incident, I developed claustrophobia, agoraphobia, which manifested in debilitating panic attacks and a fear of going out. The knock-on effect of this event had severe implications for my life and affected my schooling terribly. I spent a lot of time at home and would become terribly distressed if my mum went anywhere without me, even though she had no choice but to go to work to support us all. It was a terrible choice for her to have to make. At 15 years old, I met my soulmate and fell head over heels in love. Suddenly, the world looked amazing. I was able gradually to build back some of my confidence and began participating in life again. I didn't feel comfortable traveling too far from home, and unless my partner was with me, anxiety was a constant companion. I left school and started work. I also began counselling sessions which were now becoming more freely available. I wanted to try and solve anxiety issues. It was very slow progress, but this counselling enabled me to hold down a job, feel better about myself, and contribute to the family household. After 3 years of a happy and content relationship, I split up with my soulmate and fell into a deep depression. The panic attacks returned. I did what I could to carry on, but it was a dark period in my life. On the rebound, just a year later, I met someone else. After a short time with my new partner, I was dealing with an unplanned pregnancy. It presented many challenges, but I felt that it could give me a new stability. I would have a little life to look after and could stop focusing on my own. I felt that maybe I could live life to a more acceptable level, despite my self-limitations and panic attacks, which would still occasionally trouble me. I raised 2 children, but sadly, after a long 20-year, unfortunately, abusive relationship, a messy divorce followed. Now, in my 30s, became ill again, requiring more counselling to help me understand what, how, and why it had happened, and help me manage and reduce my anxiety levels. Met my first love again, who was also going through a divorce at the same time, and we became inseparable. Was worth living again. For the first time in my life, could look out over calm seas, and anxiety had no hold over me, happy at last, and felt totally safe with him. In my early 40s, I developed an autoimmune disorder called Sjogren's syndrome. I think it had been there less aggressively for some time, but it was now having a massive impact on my well-being. Initially attacking joints and muscles, making them painful, stiff, and inflamed. I began experiencing a tiredness beyond the norm. It was too much of an effort to even move. I found concentration really hard, and my eyes and mouth were like the Sahara. A whole range of other symptoms followed that came in waves. Some days, okay. Some days not so good. Some days I found it too hard to face the world and chose to stay in bed. I learned to live with it and in the most part found a way around, but I still need to take duvet days and stay home when it's at its worst. My husband has been a saviour for me. In my 50s, family problems and the responsibility of taking care of my mum during her later years caused a lot of strain on me, but he had been my rock, and I wanted to be hers. On my bad days, if I could not be with her, my husband went in my place together. We were dealing with most aspects of her daily life when she became unable to. Sadly, she passed away in 2020, just prior to the COVID pandemic. The devastation was compounded by family problems. At that time, I was still undergoing counselling with Mind. and I cannot think about how I would have coped with any of this if it had not been for them being there, or indeed what may have happened if they had not been. They listened, always kind, always caring, always non-judgmental, and supported me through it all. They guided me through the maze of decision-making that had to be done and stayed with me until I felt ready to walk away from the situations and people that were actually harming my mental health and well-being. That was a really hard thing for me to do. Mind showed me a whole new way of looking at things. Instead of blaming myself for all of the things that were happening in my life, with support from Mind, I was able to see and step past the behaviors of other people and not attribute them to myself or anything that I had done. Now it's my turn to say thank you, as so many others have chosen to do by supporting them, because the debt of gratitude I owe cannot be repaid any other way. I volunteer with them and do what I can to help Mind to help others like me. I hope everyone out there gets behind Mind, because one day it may be your turn to knock on their door, and I just want to make sure that there is always someone there to answer.